What day is it, y'all? Oh, it's is it really Wednesday? Oh crap. Well, good thing I'm live. Sorry, y'all. That Super Bowl put me to sleep. I was bored. And I'm about to explain why shortly. In the meantime, let's go ahead and hit that intro. Alrighty, hit it.
When you say who that, then you know where you're at. You're in the middle of Crescent City. Well, say it loud, Louisiana.
Welcome to the Who Dat Weekly, featuring the Dirty Devs Finds, Christopher J. Spies. How's everybody doing today? I hope you enjoyed that mini skit up mine. No, I really wasn't asleep. I think you guys already knew what was going on. So, all right. So let me go ahead and put today's content discussion of the day. There we go. All right. So today we are going to be discussing the Super Bowl, obviously. We're going to do a quick recap. I'll probably have something in the background playing for you guys, like some kind of, maybe like the highlights or something like that. And then we're also going to go over the likes and dislikes of the Super Bowl, from commercials, halftime show, you name it, and the game itself as well. And then last but not least, we're going to cover some Saints news that happened recently about Derek Carr, and I'm sure a lot of Saints fans are very displeased about that, but we'll touch up on that later on. So, first things first, let's talk about the Super Bowl. In fact, let me go ahead and change screens real quick. Yeah, the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60 occurred this past Sunday, and as many other Super Bowls in previous times, this was probably not the most entertaining. As far as the game itself goes. I'll go over the other things in the second point. So let me go ahead and pull that screen up for you guys 1 second. And bam. All right. So I figure I have that play in the background. Hopefully YouTube doesn't flag it. But anyway, so Super Bowl 60, as we all know, it was pretty much a defensive slugfest. The Seahawks, they as you can see in the background before you, they came out and they really didn't do a whole lot. Like, their running game was pretty much their most effective attack throughout the entire game. I believe Kenneth Walker III finished with 160 yards total of offense. He almost had a touchdown score, but as you know, the refs, per usual, always finding ways to ruin an opportunity moment to showboat, essentially. So they took away his touchdown late in the game. Did it really matter if he scored or that? No, because the Seahawks, they end up winning the game 29-13. So, anyway, so for Super Bowl Sunday in particular, I decided to wear my Shaheed jersey, if y'all can see. Oh, it's a little hard to tell. But I wore my Shaheed jersey because I was rooting for the Seahawks, and I was hoping my boy Rashid Shaheed would get a touchdown or maybe two, something like that, or just do well in general. He didn't do a whole lot himself, but you know what? He's part of the Seahawks Super Bowl winning team. That's all that matters in the end. So, anyway, going back to the game itself, as you can see, the Seahawks scored. They struck first with a 33-yard field goal attempt. The Patriots, throughout really the entire game, did absolutely nothing. Like, this is just one example. Like, that was probably one of their better plays in the game itself. So, and just watch this, y'all. Just watch this. Like, this was like throughout the entire game. The Patriots they had a very vanilla style offense, and that wasn't the only issue with the Patriots that day. The defense of Seattle just made life a living nightmare for the Patriots. Like, look at this. Here's one good example. Right there. Getting sacked. I forget who this guy's name is, but this is just one of many sacks that occurred in the Super Bowl coming up. So, hold up 1 second. I'm getting a warning. Okay, that's what I was afraid of. YouTube giving me little restrictions. Well, let me go ahead and pause that. So, anyway, let me go back into the transition screen. There we go. So, yeah, I was hoping to have that play in the background for you guys, but sadly, YouTube's giving me the warning. That sucks. Anyway, so just that one sack in particular is just one of many examples of how impactful the Seattle defense was against the Patriots. The Patriots could not move that ball. And just a few examples I just displayed here was just proof of that. In fact, the craziest defensive play I saw in that game was when one of the Seattle defensive tackles or defensive ends, I don't know what his name was, but he literally bold rushed one of the Patriot tackles into Drake May, and he took them both out single-handedly. I thought that was the wildest play I have ever seen in my entire life. I have never seen, I mean, maybe it's happened a few times, but I've never seen it personally in a Super Bowl game. That was crazy. And that was really just the whole story of the New England Patriots Super Bowl game. It's just the constant pressure in Drake May's face, the constantly getting sacked, kept throwing turnovers left and right. It was just not a good day for the Patriots, and Patriot fans are probably suffering right now. Gulfport guy, huh? Okay, so Seattle Seahawks linebacker Derek Hall is from Gulfport, Mississippi. Well, how about that? We got a Southern Mississippi guy playing for the Seahawks. That's actually pretty cool. So, but anyway, with that being said, yes. So Seahawks defense was really just a winner of they really won the Super Bowl for the Seahawks, and the Seattle Seahawks offense did just enough to win the game. Like the field goals helped a lot, but they could have been scoring more points, which they did in the second half. Granted, it was mainly the defense helping them out in that aspect of things, but still, the game really was won by the Seattle Seahawks defense. And as far as the game itself goes, wasn't the best entertaining was. I was hoping it'd be a closer game. I had predicted it'd be 23-17. I was just off by a few points on both ends, well, really both teams, really. But unfortunately, it wasn't entertaining. Now, it just felt like a massive defensive struggle, and it kind of stunk, to be honest. I was really hoping to be a fist fight back and forth. So there you have it. So yeah, the Seattle Seahawks, congrats to them. They won the Super Bowl 60, 29-13. It was just simply not close from the get-go. Like, it was just simply not close. Yeah, he played high school football at Gulfport High School and college football. He's an Auburn guy. Very nice, very nice. Awesome. Well, I love hearing stories about that, especially from some of these guys who you'll probably never heard of said high school, like Gulfport High School, for example. I'm sure there's plenty of other high schools and also colleges, like for example, Marcus Colston. He came from Hofstra University. We're like, where the heck is that? I still couldn't tell you where the heck that was to this day. But in the end, he won a Super Bowl for us, and that's all that matters. So you could come from the deepest corner of the United States, whether it's north, west, south, east. I got that all backwards, but you know what I mean. But it doesn't matter where you come from. If you win a Super Bowl, that is one of the best experiences you could ever have. And I bet you that Derek Hall guy is having the time of his life. Just like Marcus Colston had the time of his life. Just like pretty much everybody on that Saints Super Bowl winning team from years ago had the time of their life. Man, I hope the Saints make the Super Bowl again someday. Hopefully that'll happen one day. Anyway, so congrats to the Seattle Seahawks. Y'all played one good game. The Patriots. What do I have to say about the Patriots? First things first, I'm glad they didn't win another Super Bowl. Because I know they don't have Tom Brady no more, but I still hate the Patriots. The Patriots have scarred me for life. They're a team that I will refuse to root for. Even though I don't like Seattle either, because Seattle has given the Saints problems in years past, but I would prefer them over the Patriots anytime, any day, 24/7. So, yeah. Anyway, so where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So that's really about it about the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl itself, as far as the game goes, it was okay. It wasn't my favorite. And I wish it was a little more impactful, like things on the line, that sort of thing. Like, I wish it was a little more drama, football drama, you know what I mean? Like, make it a close game. this is the second year in a row. Now, granted, last year was just fun to watch because I love seeing the Chiefs get absolutely blown out the way they did last year. But it's the second year in a row we've gotten a Super Bowl where it wasn't the best. Now, last year's Super Bowl was a lot of fun because the halftime show was entertaining. We're about to touch on that in just a moment. The commercials were okay, but the overall vibe from last year is no comparison to what we got this year. Like, it's no comparison. I personally got to witness Super Bowl 59 last year in New Orleans when the Chiefs and the Eagles came to town. That was so much fun. So much fun. I highly recommend going to any particular Super Bowl event in New Orleans when the next time New Orleans has a Super Bowl, or hosting a Super Bowl, that is. And hopefully the Saints will be in it this time. So, yeah, so like I got to be part of the Super Bowl parade. That was really cool. I could see Alvin Kamara that day, and I got to see a few of the Saints players who were strangely mingling in with the Chiefs and Eagles players. But I expect something like that. It is an NFL sponsored parade, so like New Orleans Super Bowls are no comparison to like the one we saw last night. Not last night, Sunday night. So it's just like night and day. So. And while we're on this subject, let's go ahead and talk about the halftime show and the commercials and the overall vibe of the Super Bowl, which will be my likes and dislikes. What did I like commercial-wise? Commercial-wise, there wasn't a whole lot that stood out. In fact, a lot of the commercials this year I felt like were so AI generated. Now, look, I'm not against using AI. I've used it several times, especially for my own content or really just pictures of it. But AI these days is so useful because I'm not an artist. Like, if you ask me to draw something, I just draw stick figures. Like, I'm dead serious. I just draw stick figures. That's all I know how to do. Maybe a little cartoon character. That's a stick figure. But AI comes into clutch because it helps me make up a nice little YouTube banner. Comes up with nice pictures and everything, like for my videos. You know how it is. So yeah, it comes in a clutch sometimes. So I know there's some people who absolutely despise it because they think it's robbing people of their jobs and whatnot. And one thing I gotta say about that, and I do sympathize with those who might be losing their jobs. I'm sorry, I might be getting off track here, but I just want to say this one thing: if you can't adapt, then you're going to get left behind in the past. Just think about how cars first came to the picture. And I'm sure there were people like, why are we driving cars? Like, why are we driving cars? We got horses. Well, you know what? Horses can't go as fast as cars. And here we are today. People use cars today. Same thing with computers. Like, everything was probably handwritten until a computer came around. Now we get to type things out. So, as I said, if you can't adapt, you might be stuck in the past. That's all I'm going to say about it. So, anyway, enough about the AI stuff. So the AI is relevant here because it was pretty heavy with the commercials this year. And while I don't mind it to a degree, this one felt a little obnoxious. The one I hated the most was the one where they had some of the sitcom characters from specific TV shows. You had Joey from Friends. You got what's that dude's name from oh fudge, it was dang it, man. I can't think of it, but I feel like he's the guy who danced a lot. He was with oh fudge, I'll have to look it up later. But anyway, it was just that it had that one commercial where it had all the famous sitcom actors from previous sitcom shows like Friends, and other TV shows like that. The Prince from Bel-Air. That guy, the Prince from Bel-Air. That's who I was thinking of. You could tell it was clearly AI, and I was like, "Oh, come on, really? We're going this route with these people?" Yeah, sure. Like, it's nice to see them in their younger forms, but at the same time, it's so AI generated. It's like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I think the one nice commercial that stood out to me the most was the one with the lyrics that was in the tune of Backstreet Boys. I kind of like that, even though it's by cryptocurrency. And I don't do cryptocurrency at all, but it was actually kind of cool. I was like, oh yeah, Backstreet Boys, here we go. Everybody, yeah. Anyway, so so yeah, that kind of stood up to me the most. But overall, the commercials were not great, and I felt like they could have been better. I think last year's group was definitely better, but oh well. I mean, it is what it is. Maybe they'll get better next year. Now the halftime show. Let's talk about that for a second. I don't hate the halftime show. I don't hate that. And I know there was a huge controversy behind the halftime show, which I'm not going to get too deep into it because I don't care about politics whatsoever. But if I had a point of view, I think the two halftime shows that were being displayed at the same time were absolutely stupid. You have obviously the main halftime show with Bad Bunny, and then you have this other one by TP USA. That's all I'm going to say about that. I think that was just stupid to appease two different political parties. That's just so stupid. Anyway, enough about that. As far as the Bad Bunny halftime show, even though I only understood maybe a microscopic bit of it, because I do know some Spanish, so I was able to somewhat follow along, I kind of wish it would have been better. I do like the songs. The songs had a nice vibe, but I vibe to songs that I can actually hear and listen and understand. Now that the beat was good, yeah, it was absolutely great. I loved it. But when there's the obvious language barrier, I'm just like, oh man, I can't vibe with this too much. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to do that. So where do I rate this Super Bowl halftime show as a whole? I would rate this as a 6.5 out of 10. Personally, I think it's definitely not the worst, but it's definitely not the best. I've seen some significantly better ones, like for example the Who that showed up for the Saints Super Bowl run. That was one hell of a that was a good one. And then there's been previous ones like I think 2 years ago we had I think his name was Lamar, something like that. Anyway, I'm terrible with music artists' names. Like if I hear the song, I was like, oh yeah, I know this song. If you ask me the name, I'm like, yeah, clueless, unless it just pops something in my head. But anyway, so overall, I didn't mind it, but at the same time, I wish it could have been better. And I'm hoping that maybe next year the NFL will find a music artist that would be more resonating with the general public. Because like I feel like he wasn't bad, but at the same time, the amount of controversy behind it was just ridiculous. So it gave me headaches just thinking about it. Anyway, with that being said, that's about it in regards to the halftime show and the commercials, the Super Bowl as a whole. It was, and again, where I would rate this Super Bowl out of the previous 60 Super Bowls I've seen and not seen. Obviously, I wasn't born around the early times, but the ones I've seen, this is definitely not my favorite. But it wasn't the worst as a whole. So like the game was good to an extent. The halftime show was modest at best, and the commercials they were very subpar. Anyway, so let's talk about Saints news right now. Point number 3, Saints news, is Derek Carr returning to the NFL. I pray to God that he is not. I seriously hope not. Because why in God's green earth would he want to come back? Like last I checked, your shoulder was completely shot. That's what I heard last year. Second off, you would still be under the Saints contract if you do decide to come back. You would then have to give us the headache of trying to figure out, all right, how do we get rid of this guy? Because he's still under contract if he unretires. That's a huge issue for me. Like, I don't like that whatsoever. I hope he's just, like, teasing the public and doing absolutely nothing about it. Because let's be honest here. Let's play this game of what if he does come back into the NFL. Who would actually want him? The only team I can really think of is the team that drafted him, the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, do I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to want him back? They might. You never know. But they also might want to bring him back just to be the bridge quarterback for Fernando, assuming that the Raiders draft him. I assume Fernando's going to be the number 1 draft pick entering this draft. So, that's the other thing. I feel like that specific aspect of information is why Derek Carr decided to retire. It's not because of his injuries. I think his ego got hurt. And when we drafted Tyler Shuck, well, actually this happened before Tyler Shuck, but still, I'm pretty certain like he knew that the writing was on the wall for him, and I don't think he wanted to stick around just to train the next quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. So that's why part of the reason why he retired. I think that's the big reason too, outside of the injury, of course. So now imagine if he comes out of the retirement and goes back into the NFL. He might be approaching that same scenario, but this time with a different team. So if he is contemplating the NFL again, I don't think that's smart because then you're just going to be in the same spot that you were a year before, where a team drafts a new quarterback, and they expect you to groom him and all that. I know Derek Carr is going to demand that he wants to be the starter and only the starter unless he gets hurt again. I just feel like I know that's going to happen because if he does do just that, then that's going to cause problems left and right, and that's all he's really been known as, causing problems. So like, there's a reason why the Raiders benched him in his like the last few games, or I think there was the very last game of the season with the Raiders a couple years ago. Like, there's a reason why they benched him because like he refused to like change, I guess. He refused to like acknowledge that maybe he's the problem, he's not doing good, because he really has not been good, period. So, yeah. So, the only benefit that I see with the Saints possibly... Oh, hold on, let me rephrase that. The only benefit I see with Derek Carr coming back is the Saints could get some valuable draft picks. And that's something that would be very, very helpful for us. Because, like, we're looking to reload our draft. I don't think the Saints are planning on trading draft picks with anybody, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that could change. You never know. But at the same time, the more draft capital we get, the more potential starters or really more depth to the team we get. And I really love that because there's a good chance, like last year where we drafted a bunch of really solid playmakers from Jonas Sanker, Danny Stutzman, Quincy Riley, Kevin Banks Jr., I could go on and on. Like, there's a bunch of, if we get draft classes like that for this coming April's draft, then that's going to be awesome. And I'm at the point where I don't want to trade any of my draft picks for either a higher spot in the draft or a lower spot in the draft or just one of the aging veteran players. I want this team to stay young. I want them to stay their course. I want them to develop them at a young age. And I want them to groom themselves to the point where we will be a Super Bowl contending team once again. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't want any more aging veteran players unless it happens to be a really good veteran player. Then sure, why not? Let's go ahead and pick them up. But the way this team's trajectory is going is they're trying to get younger. They're also trying to get under the cap. So I just don't see them trying to trade away their draft picks. So that's like the short version of a video I'm going to do later on down the road. But as far as Derek Carr is concerned, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Like, I think, like I said, the only team that comes to mind is the Raiders, and I'm sure they would probably love to welcome back with open arms. But at the same time, they may not want him. They may just want Fernando and try their luck with him. Then again, the Raiders have had no luck for years, so they can get all the help that they can get. So, other teams I can really think of, I guess the Browns? Maybe the Browns? I don't know. They might try their luck with Shador for all I know. Not the Titans for certain. I think they're pretty set on Cam Ward. I can't think of anybody else that would need a quarterback. Maybe the Falcons. Can you imagine if he went to the Falcons? Oh, God, would that be hilarious? They're not going to do that. They're not going to do it. But then again, the Falcons have been making stupid moves themselves. Like they got Kirk Cousins and they turn around and get Michael Penix in the draft later that year. So you just never know with the Falcons. And if Falcons issue, I'm just saying he wasn't too bad with us. I'm just saying. Wink, wink. Am I white? Right. Excuse me. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. That was dumb. So, yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it on the Derek Carr rumors as we speak. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for today. And also, and Jerry just pointed this out in the chat, thank y'all for getting me to 200 subscribers. It has been a milestone achievement. I had set my goals for this channel to hopefully at least get to above 100 subscribers, and lo and behold, I'm at 202. Had 203, but I don't know who the guy to unsubscribe, but whatever, it happens. So, thank y'all for y'all support. Love you guys, and I'm hoping to reach another milestone. Hopefully, I'll get to 500 by next season, or at the end of next season, that is. We'll cross that bridge later, but I'm going to be continuing to find new ways to do content. I'm actually working through some kinks to do some live stream gaming for NFL Madden. I was actually tinkering with that a little bit today, still working on the kinks for that. And I'm also going to be doing more parade live streams. I got one coming up this weekend, so don't forget to tune in for that, see y'all shenanigans. And I'm going to also try and get some photos with Drew Brees. He's supposed to be in Bacchus this weekend, and I'm going to be at Bacchus because I was going to go support my uncle who's in Bacchus right now. But I found out Drew Brees is in Bacchus, so I'm like, oh, whoa, double the prize, am I right? So, gonna try and get a picture with him if I can. It just depends how fast that parade runs. So, maybe they'll stop just in time for me to get a selfie with him. You never know. So, in the meantime, thank you for y'all's support. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday evening. And what do you guys think of the Super Bowl? What's your likes? What's your dislikes? Pros, cons, etc. What do you think about the Derek Carr news itself? So, let me know your thoughts in the chat. In the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you guys later. Who dat? Where's that video ending? I forgot. Oh, crap. Oh, there it is.
Hey, Gates, you are a savior.